Welcome to another installment of Where Was God, and looking at the fires in Maui and the destruction and all the questions coming out of Maui. Where was God is a question a lot of us have been asking. To a lot of us, the evidence is clear as day. At least we've got enough evidence to raise a whole bunch of questions and launch investigations, which is one of the questions right off the top of my head is, why have they been blocking investigators and news reporters from taking a look at that island or televising actual pictures of what happened over there? Now, they've got a whole bunch of excuses. The left media is pouring out their scripts and telling us, what they want us to believe happened. Was it really global warming, and were there really dry conditions and everything else? We're going to take a look at some videos. Anyway, I got to ask the question, why would anyone do anything intentionally like the fires in Maui? Well, let's take a look at the financial aspect. A motel in Maui right now is $300 to $800 per night. Now, if you got 1,000 rooms in your motel, that's going to bring in roughly $2 million a week. Is money really that important? I mean, how come we got so many people that have more money than they could ever spend in their entire lives, and they're dedicated to making even more money? I mean, come on. When are they just gonna stop making money, go out and enjoy it, travel, buy a new car, get a nice house, plant a garden, do something constructive with your life. Go out there and help the poor, help the needy, or do something, do something. Now, why are people really acting that way? That money is the most important thing in the world, and it's like a game of Monopoly to where they feel they need to have all the money in the world. Now we got to look at another aspect. Why do some people have their vision of happiness and feel they need to force it upon others? In other words, they got to make people suffer so that they can be happy. I mean, isn't Maui like the perfect example showing us how the world is going right now, to where people have a vision of what's really going to make them happy, what's really going to make them rich, and it's more important than lives. Come on, let's go back to the very beginning. Back Cain. He wasn't happy with what Abel was doing, so what did Cain do? We don't really need to explain it, but it's been set in human nature since the first son from Adam and Eve. Well, were the Maui fires intentional? Let's take a look. This is a video of someone that was riding their bike and taking a video of the city in Maui that burnt down. Right after it burnt down, there's a car covered with a nylon cover. You can see trees have all kinds of leaves on them. So if there was a drought, how come the trees aren't showing it? And then he comes up, you can see there were burnt buildings, and here's charred buildings. Laying right next to what? Green leaves that got blown down. And some structure got completely demolished, but there's green trees all around it. Now that looks kind of strange, doesn't it? Now as the ride continues, he goes down a little bit further and we can see what? Green leaves, and in the background, burnt out buildings. Now if there was a drought and it was a wildfire, wouldn't the trees be burnt? Now I'm not a forensics expert, but wouldn't the trees be burnt? Come on now. Let's take a look at this. Now, as he goes further on down the road, we see pretty much everything is burnt. The buildings are gone, the trees are gone. But if you look in the background, what do you see in the background? Some green trees again. So if it was a wildfire, wouldn't all of the trees be burnt, which supposedly, like we've been told, spread the fire to the buildings and the city and everything else? But that's not exactly what we're seeing. We can see most of the trees are burnt. The telephone pole is completely burnt, but look at the palm trees. The palm trees are still standing. The wood didn't burn and the leaves are still on the trees. And everyone that's seen palm trees know that nothing burns as quickly as a dried out palm leaf. Now, how come that didn't happen over there? Be one of the strangest scenes in the entire video. As you can see, he's pulling up to a shopping mall, and you can see the parking lot. But we're going to take a look at some videos that really bring up some strange things. Now notice the nice green trees right at the very beginning. Now look at the spacing on these trees. They're like 30, 40 feet apart. They got green leaves on them. Some of the buildings are decimated while some of the buildings are untouched. You can look at the background. What's that in the background? Is that the ocean? Anyway, look at all the green trees around there. What, did somebody water them? That doesn't look like a drought to me. But look at the buildings. Some of the buildings are decimated, some of them untouched. Now, how could that happen? Someone has to look into this and figure out exactly what did happen. Look at that. The building is gone, but how could it be a wildfire when trees are so far from it and the trees right next to the building still have green leaves? Okay, like I said, I'm not no forensic expert, but hey, if we see on the news a house is burning and there's a green tree right next to it, what do we assume? We assume the fire started inside the house. We never assume, as a matter of fact, it's completely impossible for a fire to jump from a perfectly good green tree to a house and start burning down a house. But that's what they want us to believe. So far, the media has stuck to the point that it's global warming, an extended drought, and everything else. But the trees in these videos do not show evidence of a drought. As a matter of fact, they show evidence of selective fires being started in these buildings, and somebody has to look into it. It pretty much looks like maybe, just maybe, a law has been broken. But we're going to take a look at a couple other videos right now, and these things really raise a lot of questions. There were videos of people that were actually in the fire, their comments, and a video of what actually happened there. And this raises some questions that really need to be answered. As a matter of fact, Biden, with his no comments, should know this stuff, and he should be launching a complete investigation into this Maui fire. No questions asked. We need answers.
And so it was about 4 o'clock, and I went out and I saw the fire, and you couldn't even see the gateway because it was covered with smoke. And everyone's standing around just looking. And I said, I think we should get out of here because of the speed of this wind. It could be here in 2 minutes. So I went around back to Front Street, and all the cars were lined up, but none of them were moving. And I walked all the way from Safeway to the chart house. Not one car had moved. And I was wondering what was stopping the traffic. Well, it was a policeman. And I got to the end and I looked up north. There were no obstructions. There was no reason to keep those cars there.
Are you serious?
I'm serious as a heart attack. And I said, what are you doing? He goes, well, I'm under orders to keep them here. And I said, the fire is right around Safeway. It's going to hit Front Street. You know, these people got to get out of here. And he said, I'm following orders.
No way.
And so I just kept walking. Well, maybe he knows something I don't, you know. So, and I keep walking down the highway, and I look behind, no cars are coming out. I walked all the way to Waikuli Beach, still no cars coming out. And I started hearing boom, boom, boom. And then I heard people screaming and stuff.
You're saying they were blockaded in by the police at the end of Front Street?
Yeah.
Like where the restaurant is?
Where the chart house
Where the chart house was, I should
Right.
say. There was a blockade there and they could not go any further.
Right. From Safeway to there, not one car had moved. And people walking in front of me, the people in the cars are saying, would you like a ride? And they're going, oh, okay. And they'd get in. They asked me, no, you better get out of here, you know. But they just, well, we were told to evacuate by car. Okay. So I just kept walking, and I got all the way to, like I said, the Civic Center, and then I started hearing all the explosions, and there was no one walking behind me or on bicycles or anything.
So what do we got here? Oh, we got an old man named Fish making a comment, telling someone that's making a video of what he saw happening. Okay, what did he see happening? He said the police. Is it the police or was it some security guards? I don't know who it was, but he's saying someone was turning the traffic around and not letting the people escape the fire. Now that sounds way beyond ruthless, and why would a police do something like that? Well, one piece of evidence. Do we judge it on one piece of evidence, or do we look for a second witness? Let's take a look at another video of someone that actually filmed the scene and has the evidence on video.
Boys, it's freaking nuts. Now we're out of
Here
it.
we can see now.
Okay.
I can't believe that. It was
Holy.
like black. That was crazy. Wow.
Ooh.
We're good now.
Yep, we're good. We're out.
Yeah.
That was
That was
intense.
a little scary for a minute.
Oh shit, the road's closed. Guess we go straight. Oh, and this poor guy has to direct traffic.
Oh, wow. Here's another engine. Let's go. They're just on the corner chugging a beer. I respect it. It'll be alright.
The fire was on our street.
It is on our street.
Yeah.
It was right next to our car.
Right.
Could have reached out and touched it.
The guy in front of us jumped out of his car and started hitting it with his slipper.
Yeah, I saw that. That little, dead grass area that has that little pillar up on it, that caught fire really
I
fast.
saw it. It was like, boom.
Yeah.
We should have brought the fire extinguisher.
I didn't even know we had one.
It's under the sink. I don't know which way to go. I guess just keep going away from the fire.
Yeah, I don't really think it matters.
Both sides, to the left and the right, are on fire. White smoke starting to come, which means the fire's starting to die out. Fucking scary.
Well. At least we have the answer to the question of how come people just didn't leave the city? How come they had to go into the ocean to escape the flames? Well, we got that answer. And it's on video. The police, or at least someone dressed like the police, were turning people around, sending them back into the fire. I mean, who would do something like that? I mean, realistically, would a real police officer ever do anything like that? So, there's a lot of questions. They got the video. Of course, we have all kinds of video on the fixed election, and we're told to ignore that. You know, does this tying in the globalists with the people that say it was the safest election with the people that had something to do with the fires in Maui? It kind of looks like we're dealing with this same teeny tiny minority group that's just making life on this planet miserable for the rest of us. We need an investigation. We need charges. We need trials. We need to put a stop to this. Thank you for viewing, and don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like, and don't forget to share this, because I haven't seen anybody start putting the pieces of evidence together. Little bits and pieces here, but hey, let's get it all together, and if we need to, let's send it to our congressmen and congresswomen to make sure that something is done. Even though they're busy enough investigating other things, I won't happen to mention any names,